What's going on, guys, and welcome back to another episode of the German Bear podcast. And today we want to talk about one of the biggest impact performances for the Chicago Bears on offense in the Week 14 loss against the Green Bay Packers. Today it is once again time to talk about rookie standout Luther Burden. And like I just said, today's going to be all about Luther Burden having a big-time performance against the Green Bay Packers, once again showcasing his skill set as a wide receiver in the NFL. And today we're going to look at his All-22 and analyze what he did against the Packers and what he did so well to help the Chicago Bears be in this game. And then also I want to somewhat inspire a discussion in today's conclusion as well about his role moving forward with the Chicago Bears, because I do believe he's a great fit with Ben Johnson's system, not just for this year, but the years moving forward, obviously, as well. But before we want to do that, real quick for the Green Bay game, a quick recap from my side. I think overall, yes, it was a heartbreaking loss for the Bears with that game-sealing interception by Caleb Williams. But overall, I was honestly very happy with how the Chicago Bears played. Now, they started off really slow in the first half, not getting going on offense, and the defense then also allowed 14 points already. So going into the second half down 14-3 was obviously not great. But I loved the way they responded, never giving up and just fighting back into this game. And it came down to one play in the end here to potentially even win this game if they went for two here, or to seal overtime at Lambeau in a very hostile environment. So I'm really happy of how they played. And if they showed anything, they showed that they belong in the playoff discussion, and I think that's something nobody expected before the season. They are performing far ahead of the schedule I thought Ben Johnson would be at right now at that point of the season, and they just lost a close game, okay? Everybody overreacting once again with Caleb Williams. He played a phenomenal game until this mistake by the end. It's a learning curve. It's something I talked about in a previous video after the Ravens loss. Progress is not linear, and that's something that's going to happen with a young quarterback. It's a learning play here for him to look on tape and get better from. But overall, I was happy the Bears played in that game and competed in that game. Just unfortunate that they didn't get the W at the end of the day, but that's why in 2 weeks we get another shot at them at home at Soldier Field to kick their ass right there. But with that being said, let's get into the stats for Luther Burden. Back to the topic, the player we're focusing on in today's film room. He had 26 routes ran on the day, 6 targets, 4 receptions, 67 yards overall, which equaled 16.8 yards per reception, and a receiving EPA of plus 5.6, and overall over 4 yards average separation on his routes ran, which was really good. So with that being said, let's not waste any more time and get into the All-22 and break down his game tape against the Packers. And the sole point that we want to focus on today is his receiving ability, as he had a really productive game against the Packers secondary. Another game showing he can be a complete wide receiver in this league. I talked about him in another film room episode a couple of weeks back. I think it was week 10 against the New York Giants. If you want to check it out after this video, of course. But there I also told you guys, he can be a complete wide receiver. He showcased it there. He showcased it again against the Green Bay Packers. We're going to look at all his 4 receptions here in detail, and how he helped create explosives for Ben Johnson's offense and spark the Bears to be back into this game. And we're going to have an interesting conversation today, like I said, in today's conclusion about him and DJ Moore. So starting off with play number 1 that we want to look at today, we're starting off with an easy completion for Caleb Williams and a good call by Ben Johnson, as the Chicago Bears are in a 2x2 formation and they stack Luther Burden and DJ Moore here. And we're basically running, I assume he falls on the play, DJ Moore. He runs a outside release dig route, and then you have a switch release, and Luther Burden is getting across the field on a deep crosser. And then on the front side of this play, we have Cole Kmet, who's blocking and getting out into the flats for a flat route. And then you have a motion in by Lambeau Zacchaeus here, like they usually do on run plays, inserting their slot receivers or receivers in general sometimes. They just motion him in and then release him through the C gap here on a deep clear route. And I love this call by Ben Johnson because it's a easy completion, moving Caleb Williams out of the pocket with some clear reads. So I like the call here. And if we look at the play being ran a little bit, that stack is great because that switch release carries out the nickel cornerback who's playing over DJ Moore at the moment, but after they switched, their responsibility switched too, and he's going to carry man-to-man Luther Burden across the field, and that switch release is carrying him out of the picture immediately. So a great little wrinkle here in play design, and shows you how important everybody's job is on a play to succeed in the NFL. And then for Luther Burden, I think he does a good job here of getting into the window and the eyesight of Caleb Williams, who has to run away from an edge rusher here. He keeps it flat all the way, gets there in a hurry, and then shows some good hands for a first down here. So nothing outstanding here, but just a good play by Luther Burden in play action, rolling out with Caleb Williams, and overall, the offense doing a great job of executing on that play. Now moving on for play number 2 that we want to look at right now, a great example of Luther Burden's route running ability as the Bears are in full house here. That's the first time Ben Johnson has done that all year, and we'll see it twice today in today's video, getting completions to Luther Burden. The first one here in full house with Cole Kmet and Durham Smythe in the backfield, as well as rookie running back Kyle Monungai. And what the Bears do here is they basically full slide with the offensive line, and then you have a backside end, that 5 technique being chipped by Durham Smythe, and then he releases over the top over the ball for a check down, and then you have also Cole Kmet going on the backside and then taking over after Smythe has chip released. So they're basically selling split zone action right here on that play. And then you have Luther Burden with a 15-yard curl route, and then on the other side you have number 20 Jade Walker, who had an outstanding preseason, on a deep post clearing out the field. So the Bears are looking for explosive here, 15 yards or more, and Luther Burden, like I said, runs that 15-yard curl right here as the Green Bay Packers play somewhat of a inverted Tampa 2 cloud look here. So what happens is that cornerback over Luther Burden is staying down in the flats, and that strong safety right next to him is going to play a deep half on that play, okay? And then on the backside, that other corner is playing the other deep half, and the free safety is somewhat playing that middle read like on Tampa 2, that deep middle zone as well. So a little bit of a fancy look here by the Green Bay Packers, but the Bears do a great job of exploiting it as Luther Burden gets a inside shaded corner here, and I love the fact that he stretches and takes a outside release here, which works into the blind spot of both the cornerback and the safety, who's walked down right now and then sprints back into his deep half, looking away from Luther Burden and that situation. So I love him working into the blind spot right here. And then with the slippery field that the Bears had to work with all day long, I think Luther Burden also does a great job at the top of the route here, running this curl route, keeping his weight over his toes and making sure he's in a balanced position, because the Bears slipped a lot. He did a good job actually all day long, staying on his feet, running his routes, and he has a good trigger step here, decelerating. So the trigger step is the deceleration step. We want to sell vertical, full strides, and then we trigger, decelerate, and then 2, 3, and we stop. And he does a great job here. 3 steps on a dime stopping, fast, efficient, and a perfect rep here, creating an explosive for Ben Johnson here and getting upfield a little bit too to fall forward. Great rep, running a curl. That's a big time route here in the NFL, selling vertical with speed and then stopping on a dime. So great job here on the second play by Luther Burden. Now next we want to look at the third play for today, and this is a great quick play call by the Chicago Bears as they're facing a 3rd and long situation, seeking a score here in the red zone against the Packers defense. And what is happening here is the Chicago Bears are in a 3-by-1 look with Cole Kmet on the single side. You got DJ Moore in the backfield, and then also the number 1 guy on the 3 side is Cole Kmet. So a lot of things going on for the Packers defense and their eyes. And then you have Luther Burden in the number 2 spot, and the number 3 spot is Lambeau Zaccheaus, and the Bears are taking advantage here of leverage since the Packers give him a mug look here, walking their linebackers up to the line and having a safety deep over Lambeau Zaccheaus. They have a lot of advantageous angles here, so they run a quick tunnel screen to the number 2 receiver here in that situation, to Luther Burden. So he's getting the ball, and what happens blocking wise here is Cole Kmet takes on the corner over him, got Lambeau Zaccheaus blocking the guy over Luther Burden, which is the nickel cornerback. And then for the offensive line, we get them out as well on that tunnel screen. The front side 3, we got the center Drew Dahlman, who's peeling back for anything that comes from the backside. And then you have Jonah Jackson, the guard, getting out and setting the first alley block here. And then the right tackle, Darnell Wright, gets into the second level immediately too and takes care of the guy that is over the first wide receiver to his right, and that is the number 3 receiver, Olamide Zaccheaus, in that case. So he's going to take care of the deep free safety here. And then for the backside of the offensive line, we got just one-on-one solo blocks on the 5 technique and the 4-eye by Joe Thuney and Ozzie Trapillo. And for Luther Burden, first of all, he does a great job of giving ground first to make the completion happen. You can see the Chicago Bears worked on it. Ben Johnson loves this play and wants it to work. You don't throw that against Van Ginkel from the Vikings. We learned that, I think, by now. But I think the Bears also worked on it with dropping deeper with the tunnel screen receiver, and by that avoiding the upfield rusher to get his hands on it. So that's a great execution by Chicago Bears to get rid of the screen first of all, get it out of Caleb Williams' hands quickly, and then as he receives the football, gets up the field fast, but also lets the blocks develop by the right guard and the right tackle and let them get in front of him. And then he falls forward and gets some big yards after the catch on 3rd and long, getting a easy first down with just angles and leverage. Great call, great execution, and just a beautiful play to convert a 3rd and long down in the red zone. And lastly now, for the last play that we want to take a look at today, I want you guys to stay with me because we're finishing off today with a banger rep for Luther Burden. And this is why I love the passing game for the Chicago Bears and the attention to detail Ben Johnson brings to this offense. So what happens here is the Chicago Bears are back to full house, this time truly with Caleb Williams in the pistol. You got Durham Smythe and Cole Kmet back as 2 fullbacks basically, and also Kyle Monangai in the backfield, and then you got Olamide Zaccheaus and Luther Burden out wide. And what they're doing is they're running a deep play action shot once again in pocket. You got the sell by Kyle Monangai, who's going to sit over the top, over the middle right here, and then 2 stretching flats here with check releases by both Durham Smythe and Cole Kmet here. So that stretches the field, and then you have a deep corner curl by Olamide Zaccheaus and a 20-yard stop route by Luther Burden as well. And I love this so much because, first of all, what happens here from an offensive coordinator standpoint, the Bears are in full house, which forces the Green Bay Packers to get their Sam back in instead of a nickel or a dime package, which would have allowed them to be better in coverage. So to get a big Sam backer in to potentially stop the run here out of full house. So that's a great aspect here of this play. And then you also send checkdowns to both flats and the middle of the field. And what happens is the Green Bay Packers play a cover 4 behind their defensive line right here. So the Mike backer drops into the middle, the Will and the Sam drop into the flats, and then all the secondary players drop deep into a 4th of the field. So the Bears do an exceptional job of stretching the field here and having great spacing to complete this deep shot and create another explosive here for Luther Burden down the field. And that is exactly why I love Ben Johnson, because he is an absolute maniac about detail, and his attention to detail is second to none in the NFL, and he does a great job teaching that to the Chicago Bears roster, and they do a great job of executing right here. Turns into a one-on-one, basically trusting your rookie here to win, and he does. So let's get a look into Luther Burden's route here. First of all, explosive off the ball against a off coverage corner who's going to bail and look at the quarterback. Obviously, cover 4 is a zone coverage play here, so he's going to have his eyes on Caleb Williams, and it is an exceptional job here. Exceptional job of working into the blind spot of the DB once again, getting where he cannot see him break, and that's perfectly done here by Luther Burden, getting vertical quickly, but then also having the smarts to work into the blind spot, and then has a really solid top of the route considering these weather conditions, and then stops in 4 steps. I mean, ultimately you want to stop in 3 steps, but that's absolutely fine if we're talking about a full speed, full stride ran route 20 yards down the field. So I'm not mad at that at all. Sells vertical all the way, and then has a good trigger balanced and violent, and then works back to the football. And I mean, look at that separation created. Explosive in and out of his breaks, gets back to the football, creates about 4 yards to the cornerback, 20 yards down the field on a stop route, which is elite. Great rep here overall. And then the rest is just straight up Luther being that guy. He catches the football, spins straight out of the catch, and gains 9 to 10 yards after the catch. Additionally, after having such an elite route already. And all in all, this is just a perfect rep from play call to execution to teaching to Luther Burden just being a straight dog, getting yards after the catch. And I think that's a beautiful way to end today's film room. So with that being said, let's get into the conclusion of today's video. No Rome Odunze for the Packers game, and Luther Burden took over. He took that serious and he delivered. The stats, no one would go crazy over them, but that's why I'm here for, breaking down the tape. And he had another outstanding performance in week 14 against Green Bay. And I want to have a little discussion, not much about DJ Moore, because Luther Burden is a great fit for this offense. He runs hard, gets yards after the catch. He's a great route runner, has really good hands. He has good feel for zone coverage already, and if we're talking man coverage or deep coverage down the field off coverage, he understands the DB's technique already really well and sets up his routes off of that and makes a lot of things happen. And he's also a very willing blocker, and I like DJ Moore, I really do. But slowly, we might want to at least talk about it, what they should do with DJ Moore moving forward in 2026. Specifically, if he was a little bit cheaper on the contract sheet, it's an easy keep for me. But I mean, he does get big time wide receiver 1 money from the Chicago Bears, and right now I do not really see him having a great fit with Ben Johnson's offense and the way Rome Odunze has played. And Luther Burden is just ascending this season already as a rookie. We're having Colson Loveland playing outstanding too. We maybe want to start having that discussion. So feel free to let me know in the comments down below. I would love to hear your opinion. But for the final words, Luther Burden, an absolute dog, another great big time performance. Even though the Bears lost, it was fun watching his tape, and he is a big time bright spot against the Packers in week 14. And with that being said, guys, that's the end of today's episode. Real quick, for my own interest, I am a little bit more active on Twitter right now, or formerly Twitter, now X, during the game specifically. So if you want to discuss with me a little bit during the game or see my thoughts during the game, just follow right here at the German Bear on Twitter or X, whatever you want to call it. So I would appreciate you guys maybe hopping over so we can have a chat right there. But with that being said, like and subscribe if you like today's video. Definitely let me know in the comments down below what you thought of Luther Burden's performance against the Green Bay Packers in week 14. Also, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. It's completely free, but it supports me in a lot of ways. We're on my way to 3,000 subscribers, building this small community, so I would really appreciate it. And with that being said, I see you guys in another video this week about the Green Bay Packers game. And until then, and as always, bear down.